Cool. Welcome back to the Kevin Wright Show, the Kevin Wright Podcast. You made it back. You made it to the best show in town. It's the best podcast in town. It's so weird when people say this is the best thing in town. You're really limiting. You're really fucking yourself over. I got this thing going. It's the best in this town. Not the best in the world. Not the best in the universe. It's the best in this town. I got the best thing going in this town. What if your town is like 25 people? What if the population of your city is 1,000 people? Hey, you got the best show in town. And that Kevin Wright podcast, that's the best show in town. A very small town. Okay. What the hell? Yeah, we've got a couple different episode series on the podcast right now. One of them is about happiness and the roadblocks to happiness. And we're having one about dating, and we've got one about making it in Hollywood and making it as an artist. Today we're talking about our happiness series. One of the things that people don't realize is adding toxicity to their life and taking away from their happiness is the people we're surrounding ourselves with. Like, what kind of people are you surrounding yourself with? It's one thing to be super positive, to work on your meditation, to work on getting your mind right every day, every morning, train your brain in the morning to be positive, to stay happy. It's one thing to do all the work and all the shit you need to do to keep you positive, to keep you happy, to cleanse yourself, to comb through your heart and pull out the impurities, comb through your heart on a regular basis and your mind and get the bitterness out, deal with forgiveness issues, all the things that are stacking up in you and creating toxicity in you. It's one thing to work on your shit, take care of you, love you. But it's another thing, and this is what we're talking about today, of taking inventory on who you surround yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with people who are positive? Because that will impact you. Or are you just tolerating a bunch of negative assholes? Tolerating. One note on that, tolerance. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of family that we just put up with because they're our family, but they're not good for us. They're not good for you. They're hurtful. They don't know how to communicate with you. They don't know how to hold you and see you. We don't know how to speak to each other. There are those relationships that there has to be, a lot of times like a percentage of time spent. And so we tolerate them, but you're not going to invest too much in them. So there's some of those things. But then there's those ones, today we're talking about those ones that you choose on a regular basis. You choose on a regular basis to spend your free time with, your time after work, your fun time, your going out time. Those are the ones we're talking about today. Are you surrounding yourself with a group of people who just complain all the time? Who just fucking complain all the time? Rather than bring up fresh new ideas, solutions, positivity, dreams, talking about progress, talking about how we can go change the world. How can we better our lives? How can we make more money? How can we climb the career paths that we're on? Do something nice for somebody in need, somebody who's hurting, somebody who's suffering. Those type of topics are the people you surrounding yourself with more just complaining, bringing up negativity. I want to say a couple things about complaining. I get it. Like, complaining is entertaining. Look at our society. Look at movies, TV, film, especially comedy-based stuff. Most of it is clever complaining. Like, people who are really good at complaining can be great comedians. Side note on that, by the way, give comedians a goddamn break. And have a little self-awareness to know when somebody's joking and when somebody is being serious and telling you the beliefs of their heart. Sometimes people get so fired up at comedians because they are using controversial jokes, joking about things that most of the time we don't joke about. There should still be a safe place in comedy to make jokes. And have a little self-awareness to know what people are joking about and when people are joking. And the difference between when someone's making a joke about something and telling their true beliefs from their heart. Right now we are in this horrible fake news epidemic, clickbait epidemic on the internet, and people are like, did you hear that this celebrity is racist? This celebrity has a vendetta against this person. But a lot of times it's comedians making a joke and people just want to run with it and try to make a story out of it. They're not really believing and showing their heart's belief to be a Nazi. You know, a lot of times they're not showing their heart's belief to be anti-men or anti-women or anti-any gender. Have a little self-awareness to understand what's a joke and when someone's really communicating the beliefs of their heart. It's not that hard to do. Anyway, that's a side note. So comedians use complaining as a technique to understand. So I get it. I get it that complaining is easy, and I get that it's kind of fun. But if we're constantly surrounding ourselves with people who are just complainers, just bagging on how bad their workday was, that will seep in and that will fuck with us. That will affect our happiness. Take some inventory on who you surround yourself with. One good example of complaining, have you ever seen the show Seinfeld? Of course you've seen Seinfeld. Have you ever seen, Seinfeld is like asking somebody, have you ever seen the sun? Have you ever seen the rain? Have you ever seen the rain? Seinfeld is a show, legendary show, record-breaking show, called one of the greatest shows of all time, one of the greatest comedies of all time. Ran for 8 or 9 seasons. Not even just in like the comedy category, in all shows category. Seinfeld's massive. Still to this day, Jerry Seinfeld is incredibly successful. Super funny. But the show Seinfeld, the script on Seinfeld was a bunch of people who were really bad people. You know, these people weren't good. They didn't do good for society. They didn't take care of each other very well either. But we loved seeing them fuck each other over, screw up their relationships, and complain. The comedy model on Seinfeld was observing stuff in the world that was broken and showing it before our eyes. Complaining. When the group would get together, when Jerry and Elaine and George and Kramer would get together, there were schemes about things they were dissatisfied with. It was complaining. It was, what are we going to complain about in society? And we enjoyed watching that show, and that show got so popular because the public watched just a shit show of people. These toxic people who screwed each other over and screwed up every relationship, and just in the most hilarious way complained about everything, criticized everything, had multiple personality disorders, and would just rip on society. So I get it. Like, complaining is entertaining. And it's so easy, right? It's so easy to do. There's also this subtle thing that kind of finds its way into relationships, this tricky little thing that seeps into relationships where we think we are being vulnerable and we're connecting ourselves, and we're always challenged to be vulnerable with each other. We think we're doing it when we're complaining. Well, I'm going to give you a little piece of my heart and show you this thing that's been bugging me. But complaining is not a great piece of vulnerability. It's not a great way to share ourselves. You know what I combine with complaining is gossip. A lot of times if you have a friend who's just a total gossip, never talks about new ideas, never talks about encouragement, never talks about people in a light that shines them to be fantastic or shows their best side, is just gossiping about people, that person's probably also a complainer. Complaining about the weather, complaining about traffic, complaining about family, complaining about tons of little things. And here's the truth about complaining. We can all do it. It's disgusting, but we can all do it. We can all find something negative to build our lives around. But if you are constantly surrounding yourself with that type of energy, it's going to rub off on you. It's going to affect your happiness. There's no doubt about it. Complainers. Man, we're going to do a series on dating on the podcast because I'm in the dating world. What's up? What's going on? Single guy Kev here. I'm in the dating world. I don't love dating. It's occasionally can be really, really fun, but a lot of times it's a hassle. And I'm enjoying me. So it's got to be a pretty special person to jump on the K-Dog, jump on the bandwagon. It's got to be a pretty special person to figure out a partnership with. But in dating, I recently went on a couple dates with this person. Gorgeous. Just a stunning, beautiful woman. Successful. And in many ways has a lot going for her. But the reason I didn't go on the 4th, 5th, 6th date, the reason I ended it after a couple dates, is she was a complainer. And I would try again and just realize, maybe this was just an anomaly. Maybe I'm just not seeing her for who she really is. But her go-to way of connecting with me, and I noticed it with other people, her go-to way of connecting was to just kind of get pretty negative. I've got this asshole at work that I'm constantly dealing with. I've got this problem with my house. My garden is so annoying to me. Did you see what my girlfriend is doing with her boyfriend? It's so disgusting and annoying. Lots of judgment about relationships, lots of judgment about seeing the world around her. And I just realized this can't go much further. This can't go much further. And I didn't want to crush her and hurt her feelings and just say you're a dirty bitch complainer. And but we ended it. We didn't get on to a couple extra dates. And I'm realizing I want to surround myself, I want to be in dating relationships with the most positive people. The trend of positivity, we have a label for it and we have a name for it now. Positivity is awesome. It's something to be celebrated. It's not something to be made fun of or bullied around. Positivity is beautiful. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfect at it all the time. But I hope we're trending in that direction in our relationships. I hope I'm trending in that direction. I want to be as positive as possible, and I want to surround myself with those types of people. It doesn't mean also I need to date somebody who doesn't complain at all. One of the beauties of being in a relationship is having that person you trust to kind of dump your shit on sometimes, to vent to. We all need those moments. But I think it can be done in a positive way, and it shouldn't be all the time. It shouldn't be all the time. Are you in a friend group? Are you surrounding yourself with some people who you're just man, I might need to take some time off from them? It's okay to do. You got to figure out your happiness and you got to figure out your cleanse. It's okay to do. I realized a few years back that I'm an ideas person. I want to hear new ideas. I want to hear people talk about ideas they have had. If the conversation gets to a lull with me and my friends, I often get to the point where, what's something new you've been thinking about? What's a creative expression you've been hoping to put together? Is there anything new, any new projects, any progress in an old project? I want to talk about that momentum and that forward progress. Doesn't mean you can't have a take that is critical of people and things in society. You can have criticism, but there's a way to be a critic and there's a way to be a complainer. And I think that is the big difference. Criticism, good criticism, a good movie critic, a good book critic, a good music critic is going to show you that they understand the product, they understand the storyline, they understand the whole picture, and then they're going to be able to articulate to you why they did or did not like it. And there can be a lot of positivity in that. Criticism, constructive criticism, positive criticism is different than complaining. Complaining always has that tone of just, we're not working on solutions. I just want to bag on people and compare people to how much better I am. I want to get in the comparison game. That's what complaining really is. I have a good salary going right now, and I have a good month-to-month paychecks going right now. Did you hear about Gina? Gina can't even hold down a job. What the hell's wrong with her? And it's so easy to complain about her because I've got my shit together right now. Well, we all don't always have our shit together. Give her a little goddamn sympathy. Criticism versus complaining. I think it's key. And I think it's like back to the Seinfeld thing. I think gossip and complaining and negativity can be fun sometime. Guilty pleasure, right? Guilty pleasure. How many shows have there been about gossip and intrigue? How many shows have there been about just a handful of negative, toxic people? It's entertaining to see. And a lot of people find entertainment in watching just an absolute shit show of a life fall apart. And they want to talk about it. They want to bring it up because it makes them feel better and it makes them look better. That's usually just from a massive place of insecurity. Are you surrounded by insecure people? Are you surrounding yourself by people who complain about you? because of their insecurities. It doesn't mean you dump all your friends, but take some inventory. Figure out how it's affecting you. Figure out how it's affecting you. One of our most recent podcasts, we talked about the 3 roadblocks to happiness that we're identifying. One of them is procrastination. That just fucks up lives. It just messes with us. It builds bitterness in our hearts. When we procrastinate, we get sad and tired, and it builds up. It's nasty. Another one is putting bad shit in your body and not feeling good because we're eating bad things and having a bad diet. Those are roadblocks to happiness. Procrastination, putting bad food in your body. The other one we talked about was not having a creative outlet. Not being able to express yourself fully through creativity. It doesn't have to be full-time, but some sort of creative outlet is really healthy. And not having one's a roadblock to happiness. I'm adding a 4th one right now. Surrounding yourself with negative complainers and gossips. It's going to be a roadblock to happiness. It is going to be a roadblock to happiness. You know, we're all looking for peace, right? We're all out here looking for peace, comfort, meaning, understanding our existence. Surrounding yourself with positive people. You know, I look for people who bring the light, who guide me to the light, not to the darkness. Not when I walk away from them and I'm just like, you know, tense. If you're coming home from time with your friends and your shoulders are all pent up and you're just kind of tense, you might be the problem. You might be being a dirty bitch complainer, gossip. But a lot of times, maybe the people you're surrounding are just feeding negativity into your life. You have family members that are that way too. You ever go on a drive with your dad or your mom, a sibling, a grandparent, and you're in the car, and the only thing these people know how to do to communicate is complain. We've been on both sides of it before. People have caught us on bad days as complainers. But what happens if the people you're surrounding yourself with try to connect in negative ways? It's time to take inventory. It's time to check it out. Take a break. Take a breather. Take a break and take a breather. If you have that friend who is obsessed with picking out the flaws in other people because of their insecurity, and is obsessed with comparing themselves and kind of trying to puff themselves up by showing the sadness and the downfall and the shortcomings of other people, that will affect you. It will rub off on you. If you're in a partnership where this is constantly going on, it's going to hurt. You can also try to inspire your friend group. You know what feels good? Hop on Instagram and start following a couple of these like big positivity gurus. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a positivity guru. He's a major Hollywood star. Yeah, he's got lots of money and he's got lots of power, but he preaches positivity. And just listen to a couple of his videos and then switch over to Gary Vee. You know, Gary Vee is an entrepreneur and public speaker and positivity guru. And fill yourself with a couple of these videos. You know, maybe while you're in the shower. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Gary Vee, David Goggins. Have you heard of David Goggins? Dude, David Goggins is such an animal. This guy is an ultra runner. He was a Navy SEAL. He got really popular because he got a shout out from the Joe Rogan show, and he wrote a book, and it sold a ton of copies. But what this guy does on Instagram is you'll see him like running. He's running, and then he's gonna speak to the camera, and he's like, "Hey, get the fuck out of your bed. Get up and do something. You got to fight right now. You got to enter the Coliseum of life. Get to the Coliseum of life." And he's just running and he's speaking this message. Pick yourself up. Tell yourself you can do it. Tell yourself you can do it. Tell yourself you can fight. Tell yourself you can get in shape. Tell yourself you can eat better. And he just says it over and over again. I want to fill my head with that kind of stuff. I want to be surrounded with him. Imagine if Gary Vee, Gary Vaynerchuk, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, David Goggins. Imagine if these guys are your friend group. And they're always talking about the project they're working on. And they're talking about moving forward. And they're talking about helping people. And they're talking about new ideas and new stories. That feeds into you and it fills you and it moves you in the right direction. And it moves you into progress. One of the most universally agreed upon things one of the most universally agreed upon paths to happiness is find some progress. Are you finding progress in your job? Maybe another promotion, or you're quitting one job and stepping up to do something else. Are you finding progress in the place that you work to make money? Or are you just kind of stuck? Evaluate that. Progress is really helpful. Are you finding progress in relationships, in your romance? You know, a lot of times people are in a 2, 3, 4-year relationship and they're realizing this isn't going anywhere. We're not moving closer to marriage. We're not moving closer to starting a family. We're not getting to know each other better. We're not learning to love each other and be more soft and sensitive with each other. We're getting harsher and more bitter with each other. Progress in relationship leads to happiness. Progress in your bank account. Progress in fighting down some debt. Progress in your body. Watching your muscles grow. Watching the fat melt away. Watching your body melt the goo. That feels really fucking good. So when you surround yourself with people who are progressive, and talking about progress, even if it's their own progress, there's a lot of positivity in that. But if you surround yourself with people who are not talking about progress, but backtrack, taking steps back, constantly wallowing in the muck and the mire of society, sitting in a cesspool of complaints and gossip and sadness, dissatisfaction, it's going to wear on you. This might sound obvious, but we need wake-up calls. I need wake-up calls. I need a fucking wake-up call on occasion to say, what are the voices that are coming into me, into my life on a regular basis? What are the voices? Try to find some of those good ones. Try to find the light bringers, the bringers of the light. We're all attracted to generous people. We're all attracted to people who give freely and happily, who are so secure with themselves and are so happy with themselves that they're at a place where it's fun to give, whether it's money or love or hugs. Find those people to surround yourself with. And if you can't find any, use fucking Instagram, YouTube. Listen to some self-help stuff. If you can't find any actual human beings who are full of ideas and progress, just go listen to them on Instagram. Listen to Elon Musk talk about his batshit crazy new ideas. It's inspiring. Listen to The Rock. Listen to Gary Vee. If you can't find real human beings with flesh and blood, go find the internet ones. And here's another tip for happiness when you do find those progressive positivity people. Tell them thank you. Hey man, one thing I love about you is you bring me to the light. You teach me about progress. You make me feel nurtured. You make me feel healthy, cleansed. When I'm with you, I feel like I could take on the world and I walk away refreshed and rested. Thank you. Thank you for being positive. My dad right now is going through a major cancer battle. Major cancer battle. Stem cell transplant. Huge full body chemo. And typically in the past, my dad has been more analytical and he's been more super focused on the dark side of this treatment. But for this cancer treatment, he stepped up and he said, I'm just going to be really fucking positive about it. I know I'm going to get through this. I want to live. I want to fight. I want to enjoy the rest of my life. He's 67. He's saying that. And this positivity that he's speaking, this is how he prepped himself for, a 2-month cancer treatment. He had to leave his home, go into the hospital. He's got to be on, he's got to stay in an apartment near the hospital for a while, be checked on. But he prepped himself with major positivity, and I'm so impressed with it. I've seen him change the way he thinks about himself in the world. I'm so impressed with it. And I just keep telling him, Dad, dude, thank you for this positivity. I know you're doing this to care for yourself, but I'm feeding off of it. I'm loving it. I'm so proud of you. Tell the positive people around you. Encourage it. And let's foster that behavior. Foster that behavior around us. If your best friend is always you're like, hey, how was work? Fucking sucked. Oh. How was your weekend? Ugh, stressful. How's your relationship? Shit show. How's your time with your kids? They're fucking annoying. Okay. How was that family trip you went on? Ugh. Heads up, dude. If that's the response you're getting from your best friends, heads up. Watch out. Try to infuse some positivity in there. Surround yourself with it. It will change your life. This positivity thing isn't a fad. It isn't bullshit. It's meaningful. The focus on progress and ideas is meaningful. It's special. Creativity. Man, these are the things I'm thinking about. These are the things I'm writing about in my journal. The roadblocks to happiness. And one of them is surrounding yourself with a force of negativity. Complainers and gossips. We just don't have a good place for that. Think about those friends you have where you go to their house and they open up their place to you. And they're great hosts and they're hospitable and they show you generosity and they greet you with a hug and a smile and that special nickname. Think about them and wanting to be with them. It doesn't mean we can't hunker down into a foxhole and have some sessions where we vent and we're pissed and we show our anger, but that should be temporary. Think about those friends that you love that are part of your friend group that are doing so much for your soul. Nurture that. Tell them thank you. Roadblocks to happiness. That's just what I just want to pull them out. I want to pull out those roadblocks. Do what we can. Pull out those roadblocks. This has been another episode on our happiness series on the Kevin Wright podcast. I love you. Go out there and talk about new ideas. Be the person in your group who talks about new ideas. And let's figure out our shit together.